Hi, I'm Angela Williams. Welcome to Voice Up for the Voiceless.
And I am Christa Marshall, and we are so happy to be here with you today. We have a very exciting show planned for you today. But if this is your first time tuning in, we are a podcast that is tailored around those that have experienced child sexual abuse and what it looks like to walk through the process of healing and recovery. So we're so excited to talk to you today, and we have a very special guest on this show.
We have a great guest on the show.
Yes.
We interview those that have survived and are thriving through child sexual abuse, those who support victims, victims and their families, and experts in the field. And today we have a powerful, very tragic story, but a very powerful story.
Mhm.
And I'd like to bring on our guest, Les Ferguson.
Hello.
Hi, Les.
Hi.
Thank you for being with us today.
Oh, I'm glad to do it.
Awesome. Well, Les, tell us a little bit about yourself. I've kind of been following you lately and see that you've got a new gig as a reporter, writer,
Oh, wow.
editorial writer.
Well, years ago, I wrote a newspaper column and then I flirted with it off and on. And then over the past year, I've kind of sort of become a, um, what do you call it? I forget the word. Any rate, I'm in at least four papers every week right now.
Oh,
And
Wow.
it's just a weekly column. It's fun. Um, I write about sometimes they're more theological, sometimes they're funny stories. A couple weeks ago, I wrote a column called "My Wife Left Me." It was pretty funny. It was all in fun. It was about her going to her mom's for a few days to help her, and me having to eat leftovers and all that kind of stuff. It was just fun.
Yeah, I
But
like
but
the
I
likeness of them. That,
yeah.
and then some
I
of them are
do
very
that.
serious.
Yeah, I do that every week. I write a column every week. I'm working on another book. Um, just recently I became a member of the Maxwell uh, Leadership Certified Team, and I'm now a certified speaker and coach with John Maxwell's Enterprises, and looking to develop some speaking gigs and be able to do some different things, talking about leadership, and there you have it. Plus, I'm a full time minister and a husband and a father, and all that entails.
Wow. It's
Well,
awesome.
as you know, our podcast deals with child sexual abuse and exploitation, and that has touched your life in just a profound way. So, I'd like for you to share with our viewers your story.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, a couple weeks ago, on October the 10th, 2025, we had the 14-year anniversary of the day my first wife and our second born child were um, murdered. Executed is probably a better term. They were each shot twice in the head,
Wow.
gun to contact range, and that was the result of a man being arrested for what I thought was just initially thought was just um, boy, that just sounds awful to say it like that. I thought it was a simple case of molestation. Maybe he touched him here or there, um, which is horrible enough as it was. But it turned out to be that um, this man had been unknown to us, uh, raping our disabled child.
Wow.
He had been forcing him to take Viagra. He was bringing a gun, threatening him to shoot his family if he ever told. It was just really, really, really brutal. Um, it was a difficult time. It's not that I didn't believe my son, but I just couldn't understand how anybody could excuse the crudity, get their jollies, by doing stuff like this. And
Hmm.
so it was a very, very difficult time. It wasn't that I disbelieved, that I just couldn't. I couldn't believe. I kept looking for ways for there to be a mistake, that just something wasn't translating right.
Hmm.
Um, of course, we had reported this to the police, and so during this time, we had no contact with the perpetrator, uh, or at least my wife and son didn't. I still had to deal with him and act like everything was normal. Um, at church where he was a member of the church
Mm.
where I preached, and um, eventually he was arrested, and we were able to tell what was going on at that point. Somebody from church bailed him out the next day.
Oh.
We went through. I forget the phrase. Uh, it was very intensive. Well, the police were trying to get to the bottom of it and interviewing our son. It was a forensic interview. That's the word. And afterwards, I was told to never, if anybody ever asked to let me see um, that video interview they did with our son, to tell him I didn't want to. So we had no idea what was really going on, what the whole story was. Um, and then several weeks later, a month later, maybe, one night, really, really late at night, my son came out of his bedroom and down the hall. Cole couldn't walk very well at this point. We had put railings on each side of the hallway so he could,
Mhm.
maneuver down. And he came around the the door and looked into the living room where we were watching TV. And he basically said, uh, "Paul out, Paul out." And we knew he was talking about Paul Buckman, the man
Mm.
that did this. Uh, and I was trying to calm him down. He had actually written it in what little writing he could do on a post-it note, and so we started trying to understand why he was so upset that night. And that's when he told us that he had, and again, forgive the crudity, uh, put toothpaste on his butt and given him a big shot.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm.
I don't need to explain what you automatically know that was.
Right.
Um, that night, uh, I got in my truck. I don't know what, I guess I was going to kill him. I,
Mhm.
I, I was just beyond, uh, beyond consoling.
Mhm.
And my wife then um, would stand behind the vehicle so that I couldn't back out. And I'd get out of my vehicle and I'd get in hers, and she'd stand behind that vehicle.
Mhm.
I don't know
Mhm.
how long we did this before I finally came inside, and but it was a horrible, horrible time.
Mhm.
And ultimately, while we were waiting on the grand jury, he came to our house on October the 10th, which was a Columbus Day, 2011. It was also our 24th wedding anniversary.
Mhm.
And he waited till everybody else was gone, except for my wife and our son Cole, and then our 5-year-old Casey, and shot both of them twice in the head.
Mm.
And thus began a journey no one could have ever imagined, at least for me.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Les. I'm so
Absolutely.
sorry for what you've been through.
Oof.
I'm so sorry. You said something before. I think you said a couple of times, "Forgive me for being crude," or "forgive." People need to hear. They need to understand. And you said also that I couldn't get my arms around it, or I couldn't believe it. And it's not
Mhm.
that you don't want to believe it. And
Yeah,
that's kind of
exactly.
you don't
Right.
want to, and that's kind of a hard place where children are left, where you can't even grasp the evil that someone could perpetrate against a child.
Absolutely.
You can't swallow it.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Mhm.
Um, and that's why we do this podcast. I know it's hard for a lot to hear, and I know we get critics out there that we should just be quiet, just stop
Wow.
talking about it. But if we don't continue to talk about it, then there's going to be another child, another
Mhm.
pastor's child
Mhm.
for someone in the church.
Mhm. Mhm.
I can't even
Can't
It's
imagine.
I can't
everywhere.
imagine your
It's
hurt.
everywhere. Absolutely.
So, can you tell us a little bit, just backtrack of how this man got access to coal, and just some, maybe some looking back, some 2020
Sure.
insight that you might have that you didn't have then, that maybe there's a parent out there, or maybe
Mhm.
there's a pastor or someone in the church that just doesn't have a clue of what this looks like and how this plays out.
Well, this guy was perfect.
Mm.
Um, he came across as a very uh, friendly, grandfatherly man that people just loved being around. He was single, divorced, and we had long wanted someone that would could come into the home and just sit with Cole for a couple hours here and there, so that my wife could go to the grocery store,
Mhm.
without without having to worry about where I was, and or always being at home and me always having to go everywhere. Uh, and uh, he volunteered. He seemed to have built a rapport with Cole at church, always sitting by him, and uh, Cole was in a chair at this point. And it seemed like a seemed like something that came straight from heaven. It was just a great thing. He was very
Mhm.
friendly, very outgoing, 70-year-old man,
Wow.
wasn't very big. He was just a nice guy. And um, so we said thank you. And for
Mhm.
a number of months, he came one day a week for an hour or two or three even, and sat with Cole. And supposedly they watched movies and, just that sort of thing. And we had pretty much faith and trust in him.
Yeah.
Did you
In
see any
hindsight,
change?
we shouldn't have. But even now, I'm not sure what signals we could have gotten
Right.
that would have turned us away.
So, a
Mhm.
He
couple of
was
questions.
good. He was good at
Mm.
what he did. Um, his grooming was complete. I mean, he groomed everyone around him. He groomed my
Mm.
son. He groomed me and my wife. He had the whole church groomed. So,
Mm.
Question for you. Did you see any change in behavior with Cole after he started staying with him?
oh, we started. Yes, um, of course, with cerebral palsy, and uh, depending on who tested him and asked, some people would say he had the mind of a 3-year-old. Some folks would say he
Mhm.
had the mind of a third or fourth grader. Cole could talk. I'm not, everybody couldn't understand him, but if you spend any time with him, he you could understand him. He was a sports fanatic.
Mm.
He watched uh, football movies every day. I mean,
Aw.
he would call me in there. I don't know if you ever saw that movie Facing the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd call me in there and he'd say, "Watch this, watch this." It's the same scene
Wow.
every time. You don't get to see it. And I mean, he could watch these football movies and quote every word. Knew the whole
Mm.
dialogue.
Wow.
Oh, but Cole, he he started this really weird thing. He started he couldn't walk and carry them all, so he would stack up the game CDs for his gaming system,
Mhm.
and he would stack them up, and he would push them down the hallway to the bathroom, and then manage to get up and put them in the sink and start washing them.
Mm.
Mm,
They were dirty.
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
And this kept happening over and we had no earthly idea.
Right.
I feel certain he was uh acting out what was happening to him,
Mhm.
feeling dirty. But
Mhm.
Bless his heart.
Yeah.
I just want to just speak into obviously you didn't know, you were well
Mhm.
groomed, everyone was well groomed, but I
sure.
just want to encourage parents right now that if you have someone that's staying with your child, to drop in,
Oh, yeah.
Slip in the door and see what's happening. Slip in where they can't hear you. Have cameras. Now cameras are so accessible. Back then they weren't
No.
Mhm,
as
mhm,
accessible,
mhm.
but have cameras
Yeah,
so you can see what's going on. You
yeah,
can listen to what's going on.
yeah.
This is your home. This is your child. And I always encourage parents just, drop in unexpectedly. When we
Mhm,
had babysitters, we would say we'd be home at 10 and we'd slip back in at 8, see
mhm.
what was going
Yeah,
on.
absolutely.
And I
Well,
think
there
that,
was I had an I was pretty naive in
yeah,
many
Mhm.
we all
ways.
are.
Yes.
And today, my wife now still tells me that I'm too trusting
Mm.
of people. It's just the way I'm wired, but it sure bit me in the backside this time.
So, how have
Mhm,
you recovered? How's your 5-year-old? How are you doing?
mhm.
That's just such a trauma
Yeah.
to overcome.
We all have done fairly well. A while back, a number of years ago, I did trauma counseling just to I didn't think I was having any issues,
Mhm.
but I did it anyway. Someone suggested I do it and offered to help pay for it, and it turned out it was really kind of funny. The therapist said afterwards that I'd handled that tragedy real well, but it was church leaderships that had given me PTSD over the years.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
but we've done well. I got married again to the girl who had broke my heart 26 years earlier, and I had
Mhm.
joined the Navy to get away from her.
Wow.
Um, and we blended a family, and
Mhm.
between us, we have 6 boys, and
Wow.
they all get along. Everybody, um, it's been a good thing.
Wow,
So
that's awesome.
And your 5-year-old, because I know he witnessed the
yes,
the
he's
execution.
okay. He's okay. He's planning. Uh, he had a college football career that didn't pan out the way he wanted, and he's looking at joining the Marines in December, and probably be a good thing for him. So,
Yeah.
Oh,
but
congratulations.
otherwise, we're all pretty okay.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
God. Well, I just want to tell you, many years ago, we dedicated this book, Gracie and
Mhm.
Grant's Big Win, to Cole,
Right.
and it is still touching lives.
Mhm.
Well,
And I
I'm
know
glad.
that his
Mhm.
memory lives on. And I know that from your courage to share this horrific story, that parents may open their eyes.
Yeah.
There may be something, some little quirk in a child's life that they may think, by listening to this might not be right. Like there might
Yeah.
be something going on. You
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
never know.
Mhm.
Um, and I think we really hit home how deceitful and how manipulative a pedophile is to ingratiate themselves into your life, into your home, into your family, into your trust, and to bring those walls down.
Mhm.
So I think that is such a powerful message that
Mhm.
you just can't be too certain
Yeah.
of who's with your child.
And
Um,
I would add, um, to guys, listen to your wives,
Mm.
mm,
um, because they tend to have, from my experience, a more of a sixth sense about what's going on and pick
Mhm.
up things better. Again, I'm a you know I'm an American red-blooded male. I can't imagine, you know, being attracted to something like that. And so it's very hard. It's really hard to wrap your mind around because it's so
Mhm.
uh, what's the word? Antithetical to everything you are and what you believe and how you live and what's important to you.
Mhm.
And it's just in
how old
Yeah.
so
is
many
Cole?
ways it's incomprehensible.
Yeah.
How old was Cole?
He was 21, just weeks away from his 22nd birthday.
Wow.
Mm,
Wow. Wow.
bless his heart.
So I have a question.
About a month
I
away.
About a month away. Wow.
Yeah.
So you being a minister, you're in the church, all of this tragedy happens. How did your faith play into where you are today?
Ooh. Let me just say it this like this. I never quit believing in God, but I really doubted um, whether I mattered,
Mhm.
or we mattered. I really, really um, wrestled with that, more so after they were killed than before. But I, I I started writing a blog at that point. At some point, I started writing a blog trying to process my feelings. It was pretty raw, but it was cathartic. But it was called "Desperately Wanting to Believe Again," and it was probably a bit of a misnomer because I never quit believing, but it probably should have been "Desperately Wanting to Trust Again,"
Mm.
Mm.
because I just was not convinced that that I mattered to God for a long time. But um, we worked through it. He got to listen to me make a lot of accusations and
Mhm.
fuss and argue and stomp my feet and all that kind of thing. I was pretty angry
Mhm.
um, for a long time. I was angry at this man. Of course, he's dead. He committed suicide the very same day.
Oh, wow.
I was mad at him. I was mad at his family. I was mad at everybody and anybody and everything and anything in between. And one day it finally dawned on me that all my anger at him wasn't hurting him at all. It was damaging. Um, it was doing damage to to me and my family, and so I had to let go of that bitterness. And I actually, at one point, wrote a letter uh, to Paul Buckman
Mm.
and forgave him. That was my way of trying to let it go and process. And I tell people all the time, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. And I forgave Paul Buckman, but it doesn't mean that I won't have to forgive him again tomorrow.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, this year Thanksgiving is on Cole's birthday.
Mm.
It'll be difficult,
Mm.
and I may have to, forgive all over again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And so thank you for sharing that because I mean it's true and it's raw. So I completely understand. How did this change your pastoralship? What ch-
Uh,
I know I'm asking some questions.
no, no,
I
no,
want to
no. That's
know.
great. 6 months after it all happened, I walked away from ministry and swore up and down I would never be a minister again. Um, Tried to sell real estate. I wasn't very good at it. Uh, um, my wife, when we got married, I promised her that I would never do ministry again. Funny
Mm,
story. One of the reasons we broke up 26 years earlier is because she didn't want to be a preacher's wife.
mm, I
So,
understand that too.
any rate, I was determined to stay out of ministry, and I did for a couple years. Some of my preacher buddies, who I am still, we went to school together. In fact, we go on a yearly retreat together, and that's coming up starting Sunday. And so I'm looking forward to laughing for 3 days. Any rate, they kept insisting, maybe you're not done yet. Maybe you ought to find a church that you can do some interim work for while they look for a minister. And sure enough, a church popped up, a fairly large church popped up about 45 minutes away from where we lived. And um, so I said, okay, I'll do that. And then I gave them, submitted kind of an application thing where I showed them what, I here's a year's worth of sermon titles. I'll be glad to work with you and help you as you go through your search. And they accepted that. And I didn't hear anything anymore for several months. And then one day I got a call, and it was one of the leaders of that church, and he said, we needed you to know that we made a decision that anybody that did our interim ministry could not be a candidate for our preaching job. And I said, "Well, that makes sense." I didn't know why he was telling me that, and I said, "Well, so what are you telling me?" And he's telling me, he said, "Well, you can't be our interim minister." Well, you mean I can't be your interim minister? Well, you can't be an interim minister because uh, you're a candidate for our preaching job.
Wow.
That was a
No,
setup from
I'm
It
God.
not.
was.
No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. I mean, I argued.
Hmm.
I mean, I was pretty indignant. I am not doing
Mhm.
this. Well, you're one of our candidates. And
Wow.
eventually they come back and they had three people that were supposed to try, be a candidate, and I was one of them. And they were so insistent that I finally agreed to come. It turned out that the other two people that they were looking at backed out, and I was the only one that came, and I was the only one they wanted, and I had to go back to my wife and ask permission to break my promise. And she
Wow.
said that she never believed it to begin with. So we
Wow.
embarked on a brand new life of ministry again, and she's been a perfect partner in all of it.
Wow. That is so awesome.
My dad would say that he's tried to call me twice since we've been on this podcast, but my dad would tell you that Becky saved all of our lives. So.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That is awesome.
What a beautiful story.
Yes.
And I know now that you've got eyes wide open in the church that you pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
And
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yep,
Absolutely. Where is your church? Where?
Oxford, Mississippi,
Okay. Wow. That's
right
awesome.
here, University of Mississippi.
Well, that's really cool. That is
well, you are a
awesome.
blessing.
Well, thank
I
you.
guess Pastor Ferguson.
Yes.
I did know where you
Absolutely.
were in your ministry, so I didn't introduce you as a pastor, so I apologize.
Nah,
But,
Yeah.
I
Wow.
know that you are doing great kingdom work,
well,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. I'm
sowing into
trying.
lives.
Yeah. So, last question I have, and then I guess I'll be done with questions.
No,
What
I'm
would
glad.
you say to parents or those that have had kids that have gone through similar stories of sexual abuse from somebody in the church? Like, where would you tell them? What advice would you give for heart posture toward God?
I would, at this stage, I would have to tell them that God didn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
A wicked person did.
Mm-hmm.
And so, God never promised us that we would have uh, an easy, non-problem filled life,
Right.
but He did promise to be with us when we went through those difficulties.
Right.
And so, I think I would, I would want them to know that God was big enough to handle their hurt and their pain and their anger, but to not give up on God because He was going to be there every step of the way.
Wow.
So,
Yes. That's awesome.
uh,
Thank you so much for that.
I
That's a
think
great.
if I could say one other thing,
Mhm.
I think what I would like people to hear. I've already said, guys, you need to trust your wives, um, but pay attention to your kids.
Mhm.
And if they tell you something that seems really outlandish, don't blow it off. There's a line, I think it was from the first Top Gun movie, um, where one of the guys says to another pilot, "Honor the threat,"
Mm.
Mm,
and 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 what they mean by that is, if there's a threat, don't brush it off. Honor it by giving it the attention it needs and deserves. Could mistakes be made? Absolutely. Could false accusations uh, occur? Absolutely. But I doubt many of those false accusations would ever come from a child.
Mhm.
Not this kind of thing.
Yeah,
true,
completely.
true. So we always end our podcast with a voice of inspiration. And since you're a pastor, maybe you could share a scripture that's been meaningful through this journey um, for you.
Um, I I always go to Matthew 11, 28 through 30, where Jesus says, "Come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest."
Mhm.
Mm.
That's where there may be some satisfaction in seeing someone prosecuted and punished and put away, um, but the only real satisfaction after this kind of a tragedy will only come from a relationship with Jesus and
Mm.
allowing Him to give you the kind of rest you need.
Amen.
Wow. Wow.
Well,
It's
it's just
true.
been an honor to have you on our podcast, and
Yes.
I'm glad to help.
just just so I'm trying to think back of how we met. I may have read your blog, I don't know, but many, many, many years ago. But I'm glad our paths crossed and
Was it
continue to
Jimmy
cross.
Hinton?
Jimmy Hinton. It may have been Jimmy Hinton.
I think it was Jimmy
Yeah.
Hinton.
Do you still stay in touch with Jimmy?
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
pretty much
I'll have to have
once or
him on
twice
the
a
show.
year.
I I haven't connected with him in a while, but I'll have to invite him on the show. He's got quite a
Jimmy
story too.
has yes.
Quite a story.
Mhm.
Quite a story. We won't spoil it. We won't do a spoiler. Well,
There you
Les,
go.
we just pray blessings over you, blessings over
Yes.
your ministry, blessings
Yes.
over your family, and just thank you for sharing just the most
Thank you.
difficult time of your life.
Mhm.
Um, we're grateful.
If it helps somebody, then it's worth it.
Yeah,
Amen.
absolutely.
All right.
It's
We'll
Yeah.
see
all
you
right.
next time.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
So we thank you for being with us today. Man, what a story.
Yeah, what a story. But
That was
so much encouragement throughout it, though.
mhm,
Like I love just watching just the beauty of what God does and how he
mhm.
redeems and restores. And he has a new wife, 6 boys. Like he
Amen.
literally, what
Mhm.
the enemy thought he was going to steal away, he redeemed it times 6.
Yeah,
So
he did.
it's tough. It's definitely tough, but you see God's hand in it. You can't deny that.
Amen.
Yeah.
So a tragic story, but triumph over
Yes.
it. So we're so grateful that you've tuned in to
Mhm.
Voice Up for the Voiceless. We
Yes.
thank you for Mesmerized Media. If this show touched your heart, please share it, subscribe, share it with someone that may need it, maybe a
Mhm.
parent that's struggling.
Mhm.
But I am Angela Williams.
Yes, and I am Christa Marshall, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Till next time.
See ya.